Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of my new podcast that I am calling the FruityCast. Honestly, it's just kind of a workshop name, but I'm just going to keep it like that probably for a while until I can come up with a better one. But this is a podcast I plan on doing probably not every week. I'm kind of up in the air of how often I want to do this. Probably either like once a month, once every 2 months. Honestly, I don't know, but we'll see. And really, what this is going to be is just me talking about random shit for like half an hour to an hour, whichever one I decide to do. But I do plan on talking about a few things here or there. Mostly just kind of it's not really like serious stuff, in all honesty, maybe, who knows, but with my main channel, Fruity I mostly cover, I would say, somewhat serious topics, sometimes not so much. Sometimes the topics I cover are just really dumb things. But with this podcast and with this channel in general, I do want to cover some more light-hearted topics, mostly in terms of like entertainment. Because, I also am a huge nerd, so I like talking about movies, TV shows, books, video games, shit like that. And it would be and I would like to use this channel and this podcast in general as a way to kind of get my thoughts out about certain things, about those certain topics. But with this first video, I'm really just going to talk about kind of uh, what's what I've been watching, what I've been reading, shit like that, what I've been playing, and just kind of talk about myself a little bit in general. Nothing too personal, just general stuff. I got a list of topics I want to talk about, but it's not stuff that I necessarily like need to cover. It's just stuff that I kind of wrote down as like, hey, this would be fun to talk about. Something I do want to talk about is this channel in general. So right now I'm recording this on my Twitch stream, but this will be uploaded to my channel Fruity, not my main channel Fruity Sword. Just it's like a third one I plan on doing. And this channel I will be using for this podcast as well as video essays regarding like certain media, like movies, video games, shows, shit like that. But for the most part, it's going to be those video essays and this podcast. Which again, I'm not completely sure when I plan on doing this. Probably yeah, like I said before, maybe every 2 weeks, maybe every month, like once. But for the most part, that's really what I just plan on doing with this channel and with this podcast to just cover less serious stuff than I do with my main channel. I also have a gaming channel if you want to check that out too, where I just upload gameplay videos. But now I'm just gonna kind of talk about what I've been watching, reading, shit like that. I literally just a few hours ago got done with season one of The Boys, which was really fun. I really enjoyed the show. I didn't watch it when it was coming out. I'm very late onto the Boys train, but season one was pretty good. I know a good amount of like the major story stuff throughout the seasons, so I'm I know enough, but at the same time, I'm still very much enjoying it. Like I think that right, the action isn't really there, but I don't think that's what the show is trying to focus on. I think like the character work, shit like that, is really fun. I think Homelander is a great villain. I am aware of the Boys comic, and I have read some of it, which was probably why I didn't get into the show when it first came out because I was like, oh, if it's anything like the book, it's gonna be stupid. It's gonna be just nonsensical. It's because it's written by a guy who just hates superheroes to like a nonsensical degree, and the things that he puts in that comic, it's just completely disgusting. The story is also really stupid. Um, I mean, this isn't really spoilers because I highly doubt they're gonna do it in the show. But Black Noir in the comics is actually a clone of Homelander, who actually did a lot of the terrible shit that Homelander seemed to have done. But it's not great. Like In the comic, the boys are basically like they're kind of a cleanup crew of sorts. Like they'll punish the superheroes if they ever go out of line. But I but in that world, everyone kind of knows that superheroes are jackasses anyways. But at least with this one, I do like the fact like no, it's a bunch of people who want vengeance against the superheroes, and then it becomes like that later on. But so far, again, I just finished season one. It's really good. I the thing that actually made me interested in the show, but for some reason I still took a while to get into it, was I did get spoiled on the season one ending, and when I found that out, like when it came out, I was like, oh, they're not doing the comic at all. They're changing it up, and it got me interested. But at the time, I didn't have Amazon Prime, so it's not like I could have really watched it. But at the same time, I was just kind of like, who knows? Maybe one day I will. I got Amazon Prime a while back, and I just now got around to watching it. But yeah, it's really good. Really love all the boys. I think my favorite one is Frenchie. I really like Frenchie with Kimiko. But yeah, probably gonna start season two soon. It's not like I have anything else to watch really right now. Right now, I'm kind of waiting for My Adventures with Superman season two to come out because I also got around to finishing season one like a week ago or so, and it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I'm not like the biggest Superman fan. I do like Superman. I do really like Superman, but I'm not like the biggest fan. So I wasn't really upset with some of the changes that they did, like making some of the villains more tech based on Kryptonian tech. Even though I wasn't still the biggest fan of it, and I'm also not the biggest fan of some of the designs, especially Superman's design. Mostly just for the fact that his suit is kind of weird in terms of the blue. Like, there are certain parts of the costume that are a different shade of blue, and it just doesn't look that great. But other than that, I am excited to see what they do with season two. Hopefully the designs get a little bit better, but that's neither here or there. I also been watching Go Go Loser Ranger. I'm really enjoying that. I think the animation's great. I really like the story. Very interested to see where they go with that. It's the way that I described it to some of my friends was it's the boys but with Power Rangers, and very much so. Especially with it wasn't the last episode. I'll probably release this on Saturday, so well next Saturday, so next week. So this will probably the next episode will probably already be out. Especially with like the episode where it starts out with them like eating a meal together and the red keeper tells them that his divine weapon is gone and he kills his subordinate when he tries to step up. That really reminded me of like the boys from what I've seen. Like that whole scene very much like gay very much set into my mind. I was like, oh, this is just the boys. Except I don't know. We haven't seen yet, but I have a feeling that they're gonna do a story of like maybe the Dragon Keepers have accidentally killed some innocent people and people shut them up. But I'm not. Again, we haven't got any hints of that, but I could see that being a possible plot line down the line. Um, what else have I been watching? Oh, in terms of the video essays I was talking about, I'm currently watching the Transformers movies. I'm gonna start with the Michael Bay movies first, and then I'm gonna go back to like the old animated one, even though I have seen it before, and then watch Bumblebee and Rise of the Beast, and then I'm kind of just, but for the most part, it's just gonna be me talking about like the Michael Bay ones and comparing them to those three movies, because I grew up on the Michael Bay Transformers movies. I loved them as a kid, and now that I've grown up, I'm not a fan of them. Well, I am. I would say I am a fan of them. I just don't like them that much. They're like a guilty pleasure for me. At least like the first three. The first three are like a good like silly watch. Like if you're not trying to take it serious, like they're pretty fun sometimes. A lot of times they're freaking stupid with some of the jokes, but still, it's like a guilty pleasure of mine. Like my guilty pleasure is the Michael Bay Transformers movies, at least the first three. The last two are so bad you can't even rewatch them for fun unless you're watching the fourth one and just the Stanley Tucci bits. Like Stanley Tucci in that movie is amazing, and everyone and everything else about it just sucks. They should have just had a movie. I would have been fine if it was just the entire movie, but only through Stanley Tucci's perspective. But yeah, I'm watching through those right now. I just got done with the first one. The first one isn't honestly that bad. The first one is like it's a good Transformers movie if it wasn't for a bunch of dumb shit in it, and if it wasn't for the fact that the main character is one of the most unlikable main characters of all time. Like, he's just Samuel Wiki in that movie. It's just, but he gets worse in the next two movies. At least in the first one, he's somewhat relatable, but he's also like very insufferable. Like, you kind of want him to fail just because of how annoying he is. He doesn't have many redeeming qualities to him. I wouldn't say none, but he doesn't have a lot. What else? I just got done reading through DC The New Frontier, which is pretty good. I think I enjoyed the movie a little bit more, but that's mostly because they trim a lot of stuff out of it. Like the movie doesn't cover everything, while the comic does, and I think I enjoy the movie a little bit more for that reason. I think if you, but like it's not bad. The comic is not bad at all. Don't get me wrong. The comic is really good. I think the movie is just a little bit better because it's more focused on the main story. Where I feel with like the comic, it was kind of all over the place with the story kind of being the background, like the main story with the center. But overall, I still enjoyed it. I do really enjoy Darwin Cook's art in it though. It's amazing. Like that art, like his art in that book is just unmatched. It really is symbolic of the times that it's coming from, which is like around like JFK. It was like I'm forgetting what the actual like dates were. It was kind of like 50s era. It's very like reminiscent of that, and I think they do a really good job of kind of like showing like what I would say is more like the golden age of comics, like going from the golden age of comics to the silver age. I think they do a good like showing of how the DC universe has changed through that time. Overall though, yeah, I really enjoy it. You can also tell that Darwin Cook did his research into like forming that comic because he has like annotations in the back of it of being like, this is what I took reference from. Like I took reference from this comic, this comic, this comic. Just he did his research. But yeah, I think the movie is a little bit better because I think the movie is definitely better because it kind of skims some parts out. I wish it would have kept the John Henry Iron, well, not John Henry Irons, the John Henry story. I thought that was really cool. Um, yeah, and that's all I really had to say about that. It was pretty good. What else? I think that's probably it when it comes to like stuff I've been doing and talking about. Well, I have been playing through some Pokemon games recently, and usually I always have like one in the background, but right now I'm kind of playing two. One that I just kind of play at work when I'm on break, and the other one that I'll just kind of like sit down for a bit, like for a like maybe a half an hour if I'm not really doing anything. And I've been getting really lucky with shinies recently. Like I got a shiny Caterpie and Let's Go Eevee just like a couple days ago, and I got a shiny Onyx playing Platinum. So I've been getting pretty lucky with shinies because like just two random ones. Like I don't do shiny hunting. I think that's like I don't want to talk. Like I'm not trying to look down on anyone who does it. I can understand like the fun of it. I just don't know if I could dedicate that much of my time to do it. But honestly, like I feel like just getting two random encounter, ugh. I feel like getting two random encounters in the span of a week was just like just really good luck. But yeah, that's really it when it comes to like what I've been reading, watching, and playing. So I might as well get to some of the other topics. I don't have much. I feel like this will probably be a very short episode for my first one. But stuff that I really wanted to talk about is that I mean not really, just something I thought about talking about is I don't know. I probably should have thought about that. I probably should have thought a little bit more to talk about. Uh, Look, I wanted to talk about like my tattoos because my birthday is like 2 months away. I'm thinking about getting some like at least one new one. And me personally, I'm not like a huge guy. Like, well, I am a huge guy, but I'm not like a guy who really gets tattoos with meaning on them. Like I would, but me personally, like I don't know, like none of my tattoos really have meaning. I have three of them. All three of them are on my arms, and the next one I want to get is on my arm too. It's just gonna be some roses like right here. But I'm not really someone who gets tattoos with meaning. It's not like I would never. I just haven't really thought of any good ones. But for the rest of these, I just kind of got them because they're cool. They do have some meaning to them, but not like a very deep personal meaning. Like, oh, roses are my birth flower. I think that's a thing. Is that a thing where, when you're born, you have like a flower assigned to you or whatever? Like, this one right here. Can't really get a good angle of some of these. Just like some mushrooms, and that's just because I think mushrooms are a cool looking plant. That's really it. I also got these Spider-Man tattoos. I got like a oh shit. This wasn't something that I found out until after I got this tattoo. Is that getting tattoos on your forearms can be difficult when you're trying to show people them because of how you had to like move them around. But like this one, the one at the very end is the PS4 Spider-Man logo. Then we got like the Into the Spider-Verse Miles logo, and then the Spider-Punk logo for like my three favorite Spider-Men. Um, then we just got the King Kai Dragon Ball logo. God damn it! Again, it's hard to kind of show these. Ugh. Right here. I need when I also get my new tattoo, I also need to get these kind of like lined up again and colored in a bit because the guy who originally did them did not do a great job at all. Like some of the lines just don't look that great. And honestly, I can't really blame him, honestly, because my apparently my skin is not great to tattoo on. It can be really rough, but I'm currently trying to look into ways to hopefully soften it up, make it better to tattoo on going forward. But yeah, I do have some other ideas, but honestly, I'm not sure if I ever will do them. Like I had an idea to do a Venom tattoo, where it's like a it's just like a black glob with his logo on it, and like the ends of it are his teeth, kind of. I'm not sure, but anytime I think about it, it doesn't look as great as the idea sounds. Like it sounds good in your head, but then you try to visualize it, and it doesn't look that great. Um, I do want to get some like black wings on my back, just because I think that would be cool. Again, it's not something with like deep meaning. Um, I think the only meaningful one I ever thought of getting that I might get would probably be getting a monkey tattooed on my foot, my initial. And I know inherently that doesn't sound very, like, very meaningful. But the thing about it is that my mom has a tattoo of three monkeys on her foot with the initials of me and my siblings. And I would only really get that one if my other siblings would agree to do it. So if we ever, I'll probably only do that if they decide to do it. But yeah, I don't even know why she got monkeys, but that's probably the only like meaningful one I could really get. Like I don't know. To me, I I think people kind of overreact when people get like uh pointless tattoos, quotations, and quotations pointless. Like who really cares all that much? I don't like nobody. I feel like nobody really cares all that much anymore. I remember growing up, my parents told me not to get tattoos on my arm because, oh, you never know. Like they probably won't hire you if you have them. Maybe it's just me. I have talked to other people about this too, but like I don't really think people care all that much anymore. Like I feel people are a little bit more open to tattoos. I mean, look at Tom McDonald. He's like a conservative rapper, tattoos everywhere, and he still has a pretty sizable fan base. What else? Oh yeah, I don't know. I think the only thing I probably wouldn't get tattoo wise is probably like a face tat, but even then, I'm not completely sure on. It honestly just comes down to the fact like I have never thought of a good one. I've seen some cool ones on other people, but I'm just like I'm not sure which one would actually look good on me though, or which one I would actually want. Like I feel like if I did get a face tat, it would have to be like something It would have to be like insanely personal, or it just had to look really cool. And I don't know. I think maybe face wise. Also, I feel like it would hurt like a bitch. And honestly, like that is a big like a minus for me of getting a tattoo. It's just like yeah, it really would hurt just to have someone like poking at my head. My Dragon Ball tattoo. It was originally gonna go on my hand until I looked at it like a until I looked at like one of those diagrams that showed like how painful getting a tattoo was in certain areas. And when I saw that the hand was one of the most painful, I was like, no. Especially for like these three are like I got them at the same time and they're one of my first. I did get one beforehand, but it's on like I got one like a year or so like many years back ago and it's on like my back. It's just like a tiny one on like my back shoulder. Um I don't even know why I got that one. I probably won't tell you about that, but just because it's just stupid. It was whatever. It was a caution sign. That's all it is. I don't know. I don't even remember why I got it. It wasn't for like a prank or anything, or like a dare. I'm not sure what. It was like a. It was when I was in college and I got done with my midterms freshman year, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get a my first tattoo as a little like reward for getting through this, and I got that. I couldn't really think of anything else, I guess. Um, anything else? I'm not sure. I've had some other tattoo ideas. I want to get something Pokemon based, but I'm not entirely sure what. Um, what else? Um, I'm not sure. Oh, I probably will. Honestly, yeah, one Pokemon idea I did have was getting like a Gyarados, one shiny, one regular, and getting it on my thigh, getting a little thigh tat of like them kind of not intersecting, like interweave, well, kind of like interweaving of like them kind of going around each other, coming out of the water. Something like that would be pretty cool. What else? I don't know. I think that's really about it in terms of tattoos ideas. I had like a list that I wrote down, but at the same time, I was just kind of there was one that I wanted to do where it's a just a crows. That's it, with like a dead tree in the background. But still, yeah, I haven't. I don't really put that much thought into my tattoos. The roses thing was just like I just like roses, so I'm just gonna get a tattoo of that. And that's literally just what I told my mom because I told her that like that's what I wanted to get for my birthday. It's just a tattoo of roses, and she was like, "Any reason?" I was like, "Just like roses. That's all I want. That's really it." But yeah, um, I think the only thing else I wanted to talk about was I don't know. Oh yeah, since like the school year is coming to a close for some people, it's actually been like 5 years since I graduated. That was on my list. I'm not sure if I actually want to talk about that. Not for like any particular reason, just because like I'm just kind of blanking on it. But it is kind of I don't know. It's been weird for me thinking back on being like, oh, it's been 5 years since I've been in high school. It seems longer. Like I barely remember much of anything from high school nowadays, especially my senior year. I feel like that went by in a blur. The only thing I really think about when it comes to high school is like a lot of the cringy shit I did because I feel like in the last 5 years I've grown a lot socially. I was very antisocial with high school. I was not that great with communicating with people at all. I made a lot of stupid decisions. Um, I didn't have like a lot of friends either. I was very much like a mostly because of that. But it was just like high school was one thing where it's just like nothing really happened. It was very uneventful. And then I went to college, made a bunch of friends, learned how to socialize a little bit better. Still definitely had my faults. But yeah, it's just insane looking back. Like again, there's nothing really eventful. The only reason I really put it on my list of like ideas to talk about was probably just because like uh whenever I go to work, I always like go by the school because that's always like the quickest route for me to get to work. Like literally from my apartment to literally the factory that I work at is right next to the school. So, you know, there's no way I can just like avoid it, even though like, eh. So, you start to notice when people are just not there anymore, when the whole parking lot is just gone. So it just had me kind of reminiscing a bit when I was just like, yeah, it's been 5 years. Jesus. I actually got like messages from my graduating class being like, hey, we all want to do like this class reunion, shit like that. I'm just like, I'm not sure if I really want to go. Like, I still live in town, so it's not like that's gonna be hard for me to like go to the reunion. But all they really are doing is like a bar hopping. And to in all honesty, that's like going out, going to bars is not like personally something that like I'm really big on. Mostly because like these are also people I haven't seen in years. I don't really keep up with a lot of people from high school either. Even with the people who I was close with, people just kind of like uh, distance themselves a little bit as they grow older. They always, we always got stuff going on. I don't, yeah. So I didn't really, I actually, and it wasn't really to a time like as soon as I went to college, I kind of just stopped communicating with certain people. But even then, COVID happened, so now I can't even communicate with my college buddies. Excuse me. Well, or at least not as much as I used to be able to. To me, I'm always more of like a in-person guy. Like that's also kind of why I don't really like dating apps. Is because to me it's just to me it's really harder communicating with someone when you can't like really hear their voice or see their face to pick up on certain cues, shit like that. Like it goes back to what I was talking about beforehand, where it's just like I'm not the best socially. Sometimes I just don't really understand social cue. I got a lot better. Back then, I was terrible. I definitely have gotten better as the years go on. But when it comes down to just text, you can't really. I feel like this is not just with me, someone who does kind of struggle socially like that, but like in general, it's always going to be hard getting the tone of something when it's just the words, when you're only getting the words and not the attitude from the person from it, unless they like put in emojis to symbolize their emotions. But even then, I don't feel like many people do that. But it's the same thing of being like, you know, it's a little bit harder to really feel a connection with someone when you only are able to communicate them, or like communicate with them through text. So yeah, like I would still like to, you know, be uh, what's the word? Like I would still like to talk to my, old friends, but it's a little bit different when the only way I can do that is through text. Like that's just the type of person I am. Like I don't really just like texting. I like talking to people. But even then, like yeah. So yeah, that's mostly probably the reason I'm probably just gonna skip out on the reunion. That and again, I'm not a big fan of just going to bars. Like maybe every now and again, but like going to 5 bars in one night, I feel like just would get exhausting at some point. And there's just gonna be a point of just being like, I'm just on dip. Probably after like the second or third one. Uh, but yeah, I don't really know how to close this out on. I could probably share. I'm trying to think of like an embarrassing high school story I could share. um, I feel like I don't know. I definitely know I did a lot of embarrassing stuff, but it's not like stuff that I feel like. But I'm blanking on a lot of it. Um, yeah, I don't. I'm kind of blanking on it. Damn. But yeah, honestly, like even then though, I would say like looking back on it and looking where I am now, thinking about where I would have seen myself now back then, like where I would have seen myself at like 24 years old, it would be very different from where I am now. Like I am probably nowhere close to where I thought I was going to be, but but honestly, like I think that's a kind of a good thing because in like the past 5 years, I definitely changed a lot to the point where I don't think I'm still definitely the same person in some ways. I'm definitely not the same person in a lot of ways. Like my like personal feelings, like my personal opinions on a lot of topics has changed. I feel like I've gotten to, change my outlook in a way, get a lot more experience of, the outside world for a chance. Because I was never like, despite my main channel and the topics that I cover, I was never really big into like world news, like or just stuff that was going on the internet. I was always just kind of stuck with my own bubble, which was really just like comic books and anime, and that was about it. But it was definitely probably not until COVID happened, and I moved out of my parents' house when I was like, like shortly thereafter, that I finally like kind of you know started looking at the stuff that was actually going on and started changing my opinions on certain things after getting more information. Like I would say probably a couple years ago, I would classify myself as more as a like moderate, and then as time grew, I would like found myself more as a liberal. And it wasn't until a couple years ago that I firmly put myself as a leftist. But even then, like I would probably say 5 years ago, I would have thought 24-year-old me would have been living in like a city by now. I still live in like the same small town I grew up in, but even then, I think I'm probably a lot happier than I would have been. I still do want to move to a city at some point. Hopefully, when prices go down, whenever the hell that happens. But still, but as of right now, I think changing my mindset on certain things. Like I would say, especially when it came to dating, especially when it came to dating, changing my mindset on that definitely made me happier in a lot of certain ways. But yeah, it just really goes to show the passage of time. I mean, 5 years ago, I thought I was gonna be. I didn't like. I always kind of wanted to do this, but I never thought I was going to. But whatever. I really don't even know how to end this at this point. Um, I don't know, but I think that's. I have no idea how I'm gonna end this. But yeah, that's all I really wanted to talk about with this. Just kind of starting off, just talking about random shit, talking about myself for a little bit. That's probably not gonna be what most of the episodes are. Again, I honestly probably will just do this once a month because even with like this video that might be half an hour long, maybe a little bit less, honestly, I'm still finding like terrible. I'm still like not. I'm still having trouble talking about things. Uh, I'm still having trouble finding things to talk about. But honestly, I didn't even think about doing this until like a couple days ago. Like I was watching a Handsome Fellas podcast, the Handsome Cast, and I was just like, you know what? Maybe I should do this. Like just sit down and like just talk for a bit and just make it a podcast, make it content or something. And now I'm just like, man, I'm having trouble finding things to talk about. Like, it was probably easier for him because I was watching his first episode, and he was just answering questions that people sent in. But like, and I decided to do this in reaction to that just a couple of days ago, and now I'm just like, man, I do not know how people do this. Who knows? I'm not sure. Maybe, the more that I grow and the more that I meet people of this community, I would like to bring some people on, but I'm not sure. For now, it's just going to be me talking. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you don't like hearing to my voice. What the fuck am I talking about? Also, I do kind of want to use this podcast as a way to maybe help myself speak better, because I feel like that's a big problem that I have when it comes to my videos, is that sometimes I'm not the best at speaking. But hopefully, I can kind of use this podcast as a way to just get some random thoughts out of my head, as well as just, get better at speaking in my videos. And we're already off to a rolling. Is it rolling or roaring? A rolling start or a roaring start? I have no idea, but yeah, I'm just gonna kind of leave it here. Thanks for watching the podcast. I'll see you in the next one, probably in a month from now, so I can actually get a lot of stuff to talk about.